Hey, what's up everyone? Crew Danny and Puchoy Crew Alex. Today, we're gonna address the people who are just starting out in Muay Thai and wanna use Thai pads for their workouts. We're gonna show you how to hold them for basic techniques, so check it out. All right guys, so today we're gonna work on some of the basics in Muay Thai and how you do them on the Thai pad. So if you look at my previous videos, search it up. I'll leave a link in the description section below on how to hold the focus mitts for beginners. Now today we're gonna talk about Thai pads. Now this is more versatile in the sense that now you can start to use more power, more techniques, heavy techniques such as kicks and knees, as well as combinations for Muay Thai. All right, so when it comes to punching on the Thai pads, it's going to resemble a lot like the focus mitts, right? So we're going to have our jab, that's the left straight. Now, notice that when we train Thai pads, at least in our academy, what I like to do when I train Alex, for example, is if I'm holding Thai pads, I'm doing Thai boxing. So I want him to have that Thai boxing stance. We're not going to work a lot of mixed martial arts or the boxing elements of moving your head. When we do Muay Thai, we don't have a lot of head movement, right? We stay right in the center, we stay in the middle, and we attack with ferocious power. Okay, so today we're not going to talk about all the combinations or the power techniques. We're just going to show the basic techniques and how they're used on the Thai pad. So the first one is the jab. That's the left straight right here, and that's his jab. Again, one more, that's his jab. And the next one we're going to do is the right cross, right here, again. Now, when you're holding the pads for your partner, you always want to make sure that you're loose, but become stiff upon contact, all right? So you're going to meet the opponent's punch, or I should say the partner's punch. Boom, okay? So meet him about halfway. So on his right hand, right here, okay? Now, we talked about the two first ones. We also have the left hook. That's another punch, right here. Again, see how I'm holding the pad upright? And I'm meeting his hook. And we also have the uppercut. Again. One more. So there are the four basic punches. Obviously we can start play around with different variations of those punches, but those are the basics for someone who's starting out, right? So what we like to do is always, when we're teaching beginners, always to focus on single techniques first. A lot of times people start out, they'll watch a YouTube video, and then they start to do the latest and more advanced combinations, 5 counts and 8 counts. And this is nonsense, right? This is not how I like to teach my students in Muay Thai. So I always like to make sure that they learn one technique at a time, and we want to perfect that technique. Basic techniques are perishable skills, right? So if you stop working on those techniques and refining them, you're going to lose that precision as well as the timing in each of those techniques, all right? So these are the basic punches in general. Now, when we're holding Thai pads, we have to focus on all of the tools and weapons we have in Muay Thai. So we also have elbows, all right? So let's work a few straight elbows from the left side. Right here. Right here again. That's his left straight elbow. And we can do the same with the right. See, I'm holding upright, but I'm also going to turn the Thai pad slightly to reach with the elbow. Again. Now, when you hit with elbows, make sure you're not slamming your forearm into the pad. If your forearms are getting really red after doing a few elbows, you're not doing the technique correctly. Okay, so always aim with the tip of the elbow. Boom. Okay, that's the proper elbow positioning. We also have the uppercut elbows, right? So we go here, again. Notice how I push the pad down and meet Alex's elbow. One more, right here. And if we do it with this side, same thing. And we can also work sometimes some of the more advanced elbows, such as the downward elbow, right here. One more. Beautiful. Okay, so these are just the basics of pad holding and training your elbows on the pads. Now, we also have the lower body techniques. We have to address the knees. These are the techniques I like to work with basics at first. So the straight knee or the long knee right here. So notice how I'm going to reach the pad down, but bring the opposite pad on top. So that way I can meet the knee and put the body behind those pads, so that way they can absorb his straight knee correctly. Again, right here. Again, sometimes you can go one pad as well. And then we have our left knee. Two ways to do the left knee. Sometimes we do a step. He steps it in and comes back. Again, comes back. And other times we'll just use a switch. Switches and back. Again. Those are the left knees. Now, long knee, left knees, and then you can start to combine that using your hands and elbows as well. So let's take it back from the beginning. We had the jab, the cross, the hook, the uppercut. We had the elbows, other side. We had the up elbow, other side. We had the down elbows, boom. Now we had the knees, other side. And that brings us to the kicks, all right? So just basic stuff. So what do we have? In Muay Thai, we don't fiddle around too many kicks, right? We keep it basic. So frontal kicks and sideways. So we're gonna have our push kicks, as well as our, what I like to refer to, swing kicks, but also known as round kicks, okay? So let's work that back push kick. When you're gonna hold for the push kick, sometimes referred to as front kicks, we're gonna hold one pad in front of our stomach like this, and the opposite pad on top. Now some people, some trainers will just place one on top of the other as such, and this is fine if you're comfortable with it. I like to make sure that there's no gap between my pads, okay? So I don't want my athlete to jam his toes, especially when they're starting out, they don't know how to properly place their foot in the push kick. So when he's gonna teep, I'm gonna bring this pad and close it up on this. So now there's no more gaps. So now he aims on the pads, all right? And the other way I'll do it sometimes is I'll just bring this pad up like this and I'll close that gap. But make sure I don't prefer this one, okay? But you can try which method you prefer. The idea is that your athlete, when you're working with them, he knows which technique. So you don't always have to say which technique you're calling out. The moment he sees the pads in position, he knows exactly what technique I'm looking for. So we'll start with the back push kick. One more, and again. Beautiful, okay? Now if we use the front teep, same thing. One more, beautiful. And that brings us to the last two techniques, right and left, the swing kicks, all right? So of course, we're gonna start to work high kicks and low kicks, but for this video, we're gonna keep it basic. We're gonna keep the pads right at our side. So if I'm facing you guys and I want your right swing kick, I'm just gonna place my pads towards my left. If I want your left leg, I'll bring the pads towards my right. That's where your kick is gonna land. So just go slow first. Right here. That's his right swing kick. Again. Now notice a rookie will hold the pads just like this and close everything, right? This is not a very comfortable position for me to be in. As a trainer, I wanna stay loose. So all I do is bring my pads to the side and you'll see there's a big gap, like a triangle right here. And that's perfect because that's the shin bone that's gonna land exactly on the pads. You don't wanna close everything up like this. This is an awkward position, you know? So you wanna show that you know what you're doing when you're holding the pads for your athletes. Right here. And you're gonna meet the force of his kick with the pads. Now it's very important not to bring the pads down, okay? Don't push downwards like this. There's two common mistakes. Sometimes I'll see people holding the pads and they'll hold like this. So that forces my athlete to just raise his leg up, which is wrong. I want him to come in a circular fashion, so he has to meet the pad here. So if you bring the pads down before the kick lands, what's gonna happen, I've seen that happen a lot of times, is the trainer will push the pads downwards and then the kick just goes over and hits them in the face. So you wanna prevent injuries when you're holding the pads. So now, again, and I like to lower myself a little bit to be at the same height as Alex in this case, because he's shorter. So if I hold the pads where my body is, this is a high kick for him. I want him to train the kick exactly where he's gonna land it. So a body kick against someone who's 13 years old, just like he is. So it's gonna be about here, right? So I'll do this. That way there he has the exact kick right just above his waistline. And on the left side, just like the knees, we had the long knee. This is like the long kick. Now we had the step with the knee. Now we're gonna do the step with the kick. Right here, again. And then we can use the switch. One more. Beautiful, all right? These are just basics, guys, all right? So let's take it from the top once more. We have the hands here, our hook, our uppercut. We had the straight elbow, other side, uppercut elbow. We had the downward elbow. We had our long knee. We had our switch knee, or with a step. Then we had our push kick right here, or teep. And then we had our swing kicks. Beautiful, Alex. Good job. All right, guys, so there you have it. Some basics for you guys on the Thai pads, how to do some Muay Thai techniques. Like I said previously in the beginning of the video, I mentioned that start with one technique, all right? Don't do combos right away. Get comfortable holding the pads, and as an athlete, hitting the pads one technique at a time. So sometimes what we'll do is just do 10 repetitions of each. 10 times the jab, 10 times the right, and then the hook and the uppercut, and then work through all of the basic techniques first. And even to this day, we'll have these types of workouts still. Instead of focusing on long combos, just sharpen one technique at a time, right? So we'll just be here working, and we'll do 10 times the jab. Oish, oish, oish. And then 10 times the cross, and then 10 times the hook, and go through all of our basic techniques as such, all right? This is a good way to really ensure that you have proper positioning, proper timing, proper power in every technique, and then you start attaching things together. Guys, we hope you enjoyed this video. Give us a like. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you haven't so already. And we'll catch you guys
in the next training video.
Take care.
Oish. 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 Oish.